My day on the morning of September 11th, it started out as any other day. Get up at 5 o'clock. Commuting in D.C. is no different than New York, I would guess. It's an Olympic sport for everybody. Very quiet morning for the first hour, but at 9 o'clock, Sandy, one of my coworkers, got a call from her daughter Sam up in New York that said, "Hey Mom, turn on the TV, the World Trade Center has been hit by a plane." Expected to see the local authorities have it under control. We turned the TV on in Miss Minig's office and you can see this huge gaping hole in the North Tower. All that smoke billowing out and it just didn't smell right. As we were watching the events unfold, we watched Flight 175 crash into the South Tower at nearly 600 miles an hour and knew for certain that neither the first nor the second were accidents. And kept watching the events. I'd had my morning Coke, that jolt of caffeine that everybody needs. I'd had it 7 that morning. And by about 9:30, I needed to step out to the men's restroom. I told Cheryl and Sandy I'd be back momentarily, that I would return and get on about the day's business, continuing to watch what was going on up in New York. And when I told those ladies I would be back momentarily, those would be the last words that I would speak to my two coworkers. Went to the restroom, stepped out of the restroom, took 7 or 8 steps. The plane came into the building at 530 miles an hour at the intersection of the 4th quarter and the E-ring, and actually made penetration through the E-ring, through the D, and through the C, with portions of the tail coming to rest right here between the B and C rings. The circled window is my office window, and the window to the right is where Sandy and Cheryl and I were watching the events unfold up in New York, and where their remains would be found 2 to 3 days into the recovery operation after the attack. The experience immediately after hearing the sound, in that moment I went from a well-lit hallway, fully aware of my surroundings and in charge of my faculties, to an earthly hell of fire, choking black smoke, pain, and disorientation. And I cannot describe for you what it is like to be in one moment in charge of your faculties, fully aware of your surroundings and knowing exactly where you're going, and in the next moment you are facing a life-threatening injury that you know you are dying from. Your moments to live are very minimal, and you have no way to navigate in the blackness and the smoke of a building that's burning. I knew I was facing the finality of my life, the finality of death, except in this case I was thinking about the separation and finality of life with my wife Mel and my son Matt. I thought about them and what I'd said to them in that morning, 5:30 or so, when I said goodbye. I knew that I was about to be permanently separated from them here on earth. I came to that realization that I was no longer struggling to survive, but I had stepped over that line that went from the will to live to the acceptance of my death. And in that moment I did what we in the military are never trained to do, and that's to give up. I cried out in a very loud voice, "Jesus, I'm coming to see you."